On a quiet morning, the sun peeked gently through the windows of the small town's local bank. The air inside was calm, filled with the soft hum of printers and the occasional murmur of polite conversation. It was the kind of day where nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Through the glass doors, an old woman appeared. Mrs. Evelyn Harris moved slowly. Her steps careful but sure. Her silver hair was neatly pinned back, and her eyes held a steady, determined light. She wore a simple coat, but carried with her the weight of years full of hard work and quiet strength. Evelyn wasn't here just for any reason. In her hands she clutched a folder with papers for a loan application. It wasn't a small request. She needed money to start a new community project, a project that could breathe life into the town's tired streets and bring hope to families struggling to make ends meet. Inside, Evelyn's heart beat with a mix of hope and nervousness. She had faced many challenges before, but this felt different. She wanted the bank to see her not just as an old woman, but as someone capable of making a real difference. As she approached the teller's window, the woman behind the glass glanced up briefly. Her eyes flickered over Evelyn with a quick, cold judgment. Without a smile or a word of welcome, the teller's face tightened, and the mood shifted. It was clear, Evelyn's presence wasn't met with the kindness she had quietly hoped for. The loan officer's eyes barely met Evelyn's as she spoke. Her tone was polite, but distant, almost cold. "Mrs. Harris, we appreciate your interest, but at your age it's really a risk for the bank to approve a loan like this," she said, tapping a few keys on her computer. Her words carried a quiet judgment, as if Evelyn's years were a mark against her. Evelyn stayed calm, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Inside, a sharp sting of hurt settled in her chest. She knew what they were thinking, that she was too old to take on a new challenge, that her dreams were just too big for someone her age. The officer continued, listing the reasons as if reading from a script. "Your recent income isn't strong enough to support the repayment plan, and honestly, the bank's policy makes it difficult to approve loans for clients over a certain age." Evelyn's mind drifted for a moment, back to the days when she was younger, years spent rising before dawn, working late into the night to build her small business from nothing. She remembered the long hours, the sacrifices, and the stubborn hope that pushed her forward when no one believed in her. Those memories were sharp and clear, a testament to her strength. "I've done this before," she said quietly, voice steady but filled with quiet determination. "I can do it again," but the rejection was final. The officer shook her head gently, her expression unreadable. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Harris, but this is the bank's decision." Evelyn's fingers closed around her ID card inside the folder. Slowly, with a calm that surprised the teller, she flipped the card over. There, on the back, was something no one had expected, a title that changed everything. The room grew still. Evelyn's quiet move held the weight of years of unseen power, and everyone in the bank suddenly understood this was no ordinary applicant. Evelyn rose slowly from her chair, her movements measured and calm, as if she carried a quiet storm beneath her composed surface. The teller blinked, not expecting the change in her demeanor. With steady fingers, Evelyn held out her ID card and flipped it over for everyone to see. There, printed boldly on the back, were words that stopped the room cold: "Board member of Name Bank," the same bank that had just refused her loan application. The air went still, thick with surprise. Eyes widened, mouths parted, and the usual hum of the bank died down to an uncomfortable silence. The employees who had dismissed her moments ago now looked like they had just been caught in a mistake too big to ignore. Evelyn's calm voice broke the silence. "I have been a part of this bank for over 30 years," she said, her eyes meeting those of the teller and the manager. "I helped build this institution. I have invested my time, my money and my faith in this bank when many others turned away." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "Yet today, I am judged by my age. You saw an old woman asking for a loan, not the person who has stood behind this bank through every crisis, every growth, every challenge." The atmosphere shifted instantly. What had been quiet dismissal moments ago now turned into whispered respect. The bank manager hurried forward, his face flushed with realization and a hint of embarrassment. "Mrs. Harris, I wasn't aware. Please, allow me to personally assist you with this loan." Evelyn nodded, but her tone remained firm. "This isn't just about me, it's about all the people you overlook every day because of their age or appearance. How many others have been turned away unfairly? How many voices go unheard because of bias?" The room was no longer cold or indifferent. The employees looked at her with new eyes, eyes that recognized her worth beyond the surface, beyond years. The manager added, "You have every right to speak on this. We must do better." Evelyn smiled gently, the quiet power in her voice shining through. "Then let this be a beginning. Not just for me, but for everyone who has been underestimated. Respect isn't given because of youth or strength alone, it's earned, and it's owed to all." The shift was complete. The old woman who had entered the bank with hope and nervousness now commanded the room with the authority of decades of dedication. And everyone present knew they had witnessed something far more than a loan application. They had witnessed a lesson in respect, hidden power, and the courage to stand tall against bias. As the room slowly settled from the shock, Evelyn's voice softened but remained steady. "It's easy to judge someone by their age," she said, "to assume that because someone has lived longer, they no longer have dreams, strength, or the ability to make a difference. But that's not the truth. We all carry hidden power inside us, power shaped by years of experience, hard work and hope." Her words seemed to float through the air, reaching the ears of others in the bank who had been silently watching. A few elderly customers sitting nearby exchanged glances. Some had come to the bank earlier that day, hoping for a chance, only to be met with quiet dismissal. Now they sat a little straighter, their faces reflecting a spark of hope they hadn't felt in a long time. The loan officer looked down at her hands, a flicker of regret crossing her face. She met Evelyn's eyes briefly, as if realizing for the first time how unfair her quick judgment had been. Around the room, others shifted uncomfortably, the weight of their own assumptions pressing down on them. Evelyn continued, "The project I want to start isn't just for me, it's for the families in this town who have struggled through hard times, for the young people who need opportunities, and for the older generation who deserve respect and support. This project can create jobs, build community spaces, and remind us all that every person, no matter their age, has something valuable to give." Her gaze softened as she looked around the room. Hidden power isn't always loud or obvious, sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's in the stories we carry and the lessons we've learned, but it's always there. And when we ignore it, we lose out on so much more than we realize. The bank employees listened, their faces changing from discomfort to understanding. The loan officer whispered, "I didn't think of it that way." Respect, dignity, and a call for change echoed quietly in the space. Evelyn's presence was a reminder that institutions aren't just buildings or policies, they are people. And those people must learn to see beyond appearances, to honor the strength in every individual. As the moment settled, the bank was no longer just a place of rules and transactions. It became a place of reflection, a place where change had already begun. And in that stillness, the story of one woman's quiet courage became a spark for something much bigger, a movement toward respect, fairness, and true accountability. After that unforgettable day, the bank didn't stay the same. News spread quickly about what had happened, how Mrs. Evelyn Harris, once dismissed because of her age, had shown the true meaning of strength and leadership. Not long after, the bank announced important changes. Their loan policies were revised to better support older applicants. They promised to look beyond age and focus on the person's character, experience, and ability to contribute. It was a new beginning, a chance for many who had been overlooked for far too long. Evelyn became a symbol of resilience and hope in the community. People talked about her story with admiration. "She showed us what it means to stand strong," one local shop owner said. "She reminded us that age is just a number." Another resident shared, "Thanks to the bank's new policies, my mother finally got the help she needed to start her own small business. It's changed her life and ours." Even the loan officer who had first doubted Evelyn found herself changed. She admitted quietly, "I learned that respect isn't just about rules or appearances, it's about seeing the person in front of you and honoring their story." At a community gathering, the bank manager stood before a crowd and publicly thanked Evelyn. "Mrs. Harris has been a guiding light for us all," he said. Her courage and wisdom have helped us grow into a better institution. We are grateful for her leadership and the change she has inspired. Evelyn listened quietly, her smile warm but humble. When the event ended, she stepped outside into the bright sunlight, the familiar weight of her folder in hand. She looked ahead, eyes shining with quiet hope. This wasn't the end of her journey, it was just another chapter. Evelyn was ready for whatever challenge came next, knowing that sometimes, the greatest power comes from standing firm and speaking your truth. And as she walked away from the bank that day, the town felt a little brighter, a little kinder, and a lot more hopeful. This story reminds us of a simple truth: never judge someone by their age, or by how they look. Behind every face is a lifetime of experience, strength, and dreams waiting to be heard. Evelyn's quiet courage shows that power often hides where we least expect it. When we stand up against bias, we don't just change one person's life, we change whole communities. Every voice matters, every story counts. Respect isn't just a kind word, it's a promise to see people for who they truly are. Institutions like banks or workplaces must remember this too. They hold the power to build people up or tear them down. And with that power comes responsibility, a responsibility to be fair, to listen, and to act with kindness. So let Evelyn's story be a call to all of us to embrace empathy, to fight unfairness, and to honor the hidden strength in every person, no matter their age. Because when we do, we create a world where everyone can stand tall, and where respect and dignity are never out of reach.